Okay, year six, welcome to our Thursday maths lesson. So just before we start, can you please make sure you've got all of your equipment ready, so everything you will need for this lesson. So that might be a pencil or a pen or a piece of paper or something to write on. So can you please make sure you've now got something to write on and you've got a pencil or a pen to write with, okay? So you can pause this video and make sure you've got all the equipment that you need so we can continue. Okay, so if you're ready, we can now move on. So we're going to start off with our fluency target. So this is the same as what we had yesterday. So the numbers on the right, they have digits that are in red. You need to write the value of the digits in red for the questions 1 to 4. Then when you get to question 5, you need to put those numbers in order from smallest to largest. So if you can pause this video now, give yourself a minute or so to do these questions. So pause the video and do these questions now. Okay, hopefully you've had a chance to do that. So let's have a look at them together. So the first one is 456,820.13. The digit that is in red is this 5 here. And that 5 is in the 10,000s column. So that one there is 50,000. This one here, we've got a decimal point here, which means the one to the right of our decimal point is our tens column. This is the column after, which is the hundredths, and it's a 6, so it's 6 hundredths. For question 3, it's the 8, and if you look, the decimal points here, so that means this one is the ones, this is the tens, so it's 80. So you should have 80 written down on your piece of paper. Number 4, if you look at this one carefully, you've got 2,672,137.00. So this one here is in the million, so it is 2 million. Okay, so you can write that in words or in numbers, that's fine for either. Okay, so the bottom one was putting these numbers in order from smallest to largest. So when you're ordering numbers from smallest to largest, you need to first look for the digit furthest to the left to find out which is the smallest. So when I look at these numbers, I can see I've got 1.91, I've got 0.09, 2.3028, 1.35, and then 9.04. So if we're looking for the one with the smallest value, we can see that there's one that starts with a 0. There's only one that starts with a 0 this time, it's 0.09. So that must be my smallest. After that one, we need to look for, again, we're starting with the digits over to the left. We've got this one that starts with a 1 in the ones column, and this one that has a 1 in the ones column. We then need to look onto the next column. So we look into our tens column. This one has a 9 in it, and this one has a 3. That means that 1.35 is the next smallest. Our third one should be 1.91. So let's just double check. Yeah, 1.91. So now let's look at what we've got left. We've got 2.302, 8, and then 9.04. So the next one with the smallest value at the furthest to the left is this one, which is 2.302. And then the next one after that should be 8 and then 9.04. Could you please mark the questions you have got in front of you and we can see how you have got on. So well done. Okay, hopefully you've all managed to do that now. So let's move on. Today's lesson today is looking at simplifying fractions. So for today's lesson, we're going to be using a lot of things that we worked on yesterday. So do make sure you have taken part in yesterday's lesson and you have done all the work for that lesson. So we're simplifying fractions using knowledge of factors and equivalent fractions. So we're going to simplify fractions so that the numerator and the denominator are the lowest possible whole number. So this is in your fraction. The numerator is the number at the top of your fraction and the denominator is the number at the bottom of your fraction, how many pieces it's out of. You're going to use your knowledge of factors to be able to simplify the fractions. We've been practicing factors quite a lot recently. And remember that factors are numbers that can be used to be multiplied together to make a number. So if you're thinking of, for example, 9, a factor of 9 is 3 because 3 times by 3 gives you 9. So that would be a factor. We need to also understand how to give an answer to a calculation in its simplest form. So we're going to be going through that today, okay? Right, let's look at our first bit. So what do we think simplify means? So what does simplify mean? Pause this video and on your piece of paper in front of you, could you write what you think simplify means? Okay, so simplify means a fraction in its simplest form when the top and bottom number cannot be any smaller but are still whole numbers. So this means when you've used your factors knowledge and you've used your times table knowledge to make the numerator denominator as small as possible, but they're still both whole numbers, which will make sense as we go through the questions. Okay, so we're going to use our knowledge of common factors to simplify fractions. So Alex is simplifying here 8/12 by dividing the numerator and denominator by the highest common factor. So remember, a common factor is a number that is a factor of both. So we're looking for a number that is a factor of both 12 and 8. Okay, so if you're thinking of factors of both of these. So here they've written the factors of 8. So we've got factors of 8, which are 1, because 1 multiplied by 8 makes 8. 2, because 2 multiplied by 4 makes 8. And those are the factors of 8. So we've got 1, 2, 4, and 8. And then these are the factors of 12. We've got 1, because 1 multiplied by 12 is 12. 2, because 2 multiplied by 6 is 12. 3, because 3 multiplied by 4 is 12. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 12. So we're looking now for the common factors. So we've got, for example, let's get a highlighter. We have 2 that is in a factor of both, and then we've also got the 4. Now the 4 is the one that we're going to use because that's the highest common factor. So it's the largest number, the largest factor of both of those numbers. So then what Alex is doing is she's got her fraction here, which is 8/12, and she's dividing the numerator by 4. So she does 8 divided by 4 to get 2. And then she does the exact same to the denominator. So she does 12 divided by 4, which gives her 3. Now, this is really important that we need to remember that whatever you do to the numerator, whatever you do to the number on the top, you must do to the denominator, and that keeps them equivalent, okay? So just like with yesterday's work, we need to make sure we're keeping them equivalent. That means we need to do the same to the top number as we do to the bottom. And that's really important to remember. Okay, so this is another example. You have got here 6/12. We need to simplify this, and the way we're going to do it is we're going to find the highest common factor of 6 and 12. So a way you can do this if you're doing this on your piece of paper is you can write down your factors. So I want you now to pause this video, and I would like you to do it like this with a 6 underlined, and I want you to write all the factors of 6 underneath. And then I'd like you to write a 12 and all the factors of 12 underneath. So can you pause this video please now and do that in front of you? Okay, hopefully you've had a bit of a chance to do this now. So let's look at the factors. So the factors of 6, we've got 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. And then we've got 12. So let's have a look at 12. We've got 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. So we're looking for the highest common factor of both of these. So the highest number. So 2's in both. 2's there, 2's there, 3's in both, and 6 is in both. So the highest one is, of course, my 6, this 6 here. That is our highest one. That was a terrible circle. So whatever we do now, we need to divide both of these numbers by that number. So we're going to do 6 divided by 6, which of course gives us 1. We're going to do the 12 divided by 6, which of course gives us 2. So we've now got 1/2. Now, if you chose to do it a different way, so if you didn't use the highest common factor, and for example, you divided them both by 3, you would have done 6 divided by 3 and you would have got 2, and then 12 divided by 3 and you would have got 4. So you would have ended up with 2 quarters, okay? Now, you have simplified the fraction, but we're trying to simplify it to its lowest amount, okay? To as it said in the success criteria, if we go back, it said that it needs to be in its simplest form. So we're trying to put it into its simplest form. And that means as small as possible. So you can see that even though we divided it by a factor of both numbers, it didn't give us the simplest form. And that's why we need to use the largest factor of both of them, okay? The largest common factor, because that means that it simplifies to the simplest form. Okay, Right, let's look at the next question. So we've got a few here for you. We'll do the first one on the left now. I'll do that with you, and then I would like you to have another go at the second two. So this one here, we've got 8 over 24. So the easiest way of doing this, just like we've done before, is to write the factors. Now, I'm going to give you a chance now to write the factors of 8 and 24, just like we did for the previous page. So would you like to write 8 and then underneath write the factors, 24 and then underneath write the factors. So can you pause this video and please do that now. Okay, well done. So let's have a look. The factors of 8, we've got 1 and 8 and 2 and 4. Then the factors of 24, we've got 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8 and 4 and 6. If we're looking then for the common factors, let's just highlight them together. We've got the 2. Mouse wasn't working. We've got 2 there. Oh, that's too skinny. Let's make a big one. We've got 2 there, 2 there. And then we've got 4 in both. And we've got an 8 in both. So we're looking for the largest common factor. So if you look at those, you can see you've got 8, 2, and 4 that is in both. The largest one is, of course, 8. So we are going to divide both by 8. So we go 8 divided by 8, which gives us 1. And then we do, remember, whatever we do to numerator, we must do to denominator. So we do 24 divided by 8. Which gives me, if you think about it, 8, 16, 24. So it gives me 3. Okay, and it's fine to run through your timetables like that if you need. So this second one, I would like you to have a go by yourself. So first of all, what you need to do is you need to write your 9 and your 36 and write all the factors of both. You can then circle or highlight or however you're going to identify the common factors. And I want you to find the largest common factor, okay, of both, largest common factor for them. Then I would like you to try and simplify them, so divide the numerator and the denominator by that common factor. Can you have a go now? Give yourself a couple of minutes and have a go at that question. Okay, if you've had a go at that question, let's do it together just to double check. So you should have found your factors of 9 and then your factors of 36. Now, if we're looking for the highest common factor, let's look at our common factors. We've got 9 is in both, 9 is in both, 3 is in both, 3 is in both. Highest one is, of course, our 9. So we are going to be dividing both by 9. So we do 9 divided by 9. I'm sure you wrote this all much neater on your pieces of paper. 1. Then we do 36 divided by 9, which gives me 4. So we've got a quarter there. Okay? Right. This last one, I have not wrote underneath the two numbers for the factors because I think now we can start thinking about it, and being good mathematicians, we can work it out without having this scaffold below. So we've got 3 and 12. So we're thinking of a number or a factor of both 3 and 12 that we can divide both numbers by. I want you to have a little bit of a think and see if you can work out what you will be dividing the numerator and the denominator by, and then I will do it with you. Okay, so of course we're going to divide the numerator by 3. And we're going to do the same to the denominator. We'll divide that one by 3, which will give us 1/4. Okay, so well done. I hope this is getting easier for you as we go along. So this is an interesting one. So you can also simplify mixed number fractions. You can also simplify mixed number fractions. So mixed number fractions just mean when you've got a whole number and you've also got a fraction. So that's what we mean by a mixed number. You've got a whole number and a fraction. So it says here, Mo has 3 boxes of chocolates. 2 boxes are full and 1 is 4/10 full. To simplify 2 over 4/10, you need to keep the whole number the same and simplify the fraction. So you need to do 4/10, which simplifies to 2/5. So 2 and 4/10 equals 2 and 2/5. So what Mo is saying is completely correct. When you've got a mixed number fraction and you want to simplify, you don't do anything to the whole number because the whole number is not a fraction, and so therefore it doesn't need to be simplified. You don't need to do anything to it. Sometimes the easiest thing to do is to cover it up and pretend it's not there and simplify the fraction itself, okay? So let's have a go at using Mo's method to simplify 2 and 5/15. 15ths. So remembering what we've just said, we need to pretend that the 2 is not there, so you need to cover up the 2. So we've just got 5 and 5 over 15. So I'm going to write that below so it's separate so we don't forget. So we've got 5 over 15. Okay, so now we need to simplify. So we need to find a common factor of both of those. Now, have you had a little think? If you had a little think, you should have realized that we can divide both of these by 5. So if we divide both of these by 5, 5 divided by 5 is, of course, 1. And 15 divided by 5 is, of course, 3. So you've got 1 over 3. Now, we hid the whole number, so we didn't do anything to it by accident. So we need to now put that back on. So it's actually equal to, if we put our equal signs here, this is equal to 2 whole ones and 1/3. Okay, so you need to make sure that whole 1 is in your answer. You will have some questions, I believe your semicircle questions are like this. So all you have to do, remember, is you just need to ignore the whole number and work on the fraction to simplify, and then put the whole number back on at the end, okay? Because you don't need to do anything to the whole number. Okay, let's move on. So we're going to find the total of the fractions. So we're going to add these fractions together, and then we're going to give the answer in the simplest form. So when we add these two fractions together, we're going to get an answer, which is correct, but we're going to try and then simplify it into its simplest form, okay? Just doing what we've done before. So you're basically combining two different skills that you have learned with fractions into one lesson, okay? So we've got 3/8 and we're going to add 1/8. Now, whenever you're adding fractions, and this is really important because I noticed this when we did the arithmetic test last time, we do not add the denominators. The denominator is how many pieces it's out of, and that doesn't change. So, for example, if one person, I don't know, Bob, has got 2 pieces of pizza, and then I've got 1 piece of pizza, and the pizza was cut into 8 pieces, we're not changing the amount of pieces it's out of. So those slices of pizza are not going to get changed their size when we add them together. So we would then have, if we add them together, we've got 3 pieces, for example, out of 8. And this one is the same again. So if you imagine it as pizza, I think that's quite helpful. So if you imagine a pizza that has been split into 8 pieces, this is 3 pieces of the pizza, and this is 1 piece of the pizza. So we're adding the 3 and the 1 together. It's not changing what it's out of. So 3 add 1 is 4, and then the denominator should stay as 8, which I've kept here for you. Now, we now need to make it into its simplest form, so we need to find the highest common factor of both 4 and 8. We need to divide both of these by the highest common factor to put it into its simplest form. So, if you look at 4 and 8, you should probably recognize that the highest common factor is 4. So we're going to divide both of these by 4. Okay, so you divide both by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So you've got a half now. So the answer for this question is a half. Okay. Let's have a look at this one on the right. I'd like you to have a go at the one on the right by yourself. I'd like you to add the 2 fractions together and then have a go at simplifying, and then I will go through the answers. So can you get your piece of paper out in front of you, get your pencil, and give yourself a couple of minutes now to work out this answer. Okay, let's go through it together then. So we've got 6 12s add 2 12s. So the 6 add the 2 is 8. So we should have 8 12s. We now need to simplify it. So we need to find the highest common factor of both of them. Now, what could the highest common factor be? I mean, you could divide it by 2. But is that the highest common factor? No. In fact, we need to divide them both by 4. That is a terrible divide. Divide by 4. So we do 8 divided by 4, we get 2. And if we do 12 divided by 4, we get 3. So we've got 2/3. So our answer to that question is 2/3. So let's write that here. 2/3. Okay. Okay, so you'll find these a little bit further down on your sheet, okay? Right. Eva has a tube of Smarties. There are 20 Smarties in the tube. She gives Tom 3/12 of the tube and Max 8/32 of the tube. She keeps a half of the tube for herself. So we did this question yesterday and it's a very similar question, okay? So we just need to work out what we need to do. Okay, so it says to simplify first and then calculate after. So Tom has got 3/12. Now let's simplify that fraction then. So if he's got, doesn't want to work, 2 3/12. So we're going to divide both of these by 3, which gives us a quarter. Then good old Max, he's got 8/32. I'm not very good at writing this on a keyboard. It's very tricky. Right, 8/32. So we're going to divide both of these now. The highest common factor is 8. So we're going to divide them both by 8. So 8 divided by 8 is 1. 32 divided by 8 gives me 4. Okay, and then it just says Eva gets half. So she's just got half. We can't simplify that. Now, I'm going to let you have a bit of a second now to have a think, because this is what we did yesterday. So if you did this yesterday and you follow the lesson carefully, you might be able to remember what to do now. So remembering that there's 20 Smarties. This person's getting a quarter. This person's getting a quarter. So remember that's out of 4. And this one's a half. So how many do you think each people get? Pause the video, have a go at working it out. Okay, so Tom's got a quarter. So to find that, we divide by 4. So 20 divided by 4 is 5. So Tom will have 5. Max has got the same fraction. So he's also got 5. Eva's got a half. So a half of 20 is 10. So 5 add 5, add 10 gives me 20. Okay. So your work for today. So if you go onto the school website, you will see your work has been uploaded. There are 2 sheets. There is one which is the circle to the square sheet, and then there's the extension sheet, which is the pentagon and the hexagon sheet. So it's up to you where you start. I think some of you will probably want to start on semicircle, but I reckon a lot of you might think starting on circle will be sensible, and I would agree with you because it just gives you a little bit more time to get used to doing the factors, okay? These ones have got the mixed numbers, so you just remember you need to ignore the mixed numbers, simplify the fraction, and then put it back together. And then these ones are the more of the addition ones, okay? So they change slightly as you go through. If you get stuck on anything, it might be an idea to come back onto this video and have another go at it, okay? So you can have a go at your work when you're ready, and then when you finished your work, I have got the skills sharp on the board here, so you can pause this video now and have a go at your skills sharp, and then I'll put your answers on in a second. Okay, I'm going to put the answers on for you now. Just one remainder there. So please complete your work. It's up to you how you do it. If you do it on a piece of paper, and then you just take a photo of it and email it into us, however works best for you. But just make sure you are sending your work into me. Even if you're in Mrs. Crownshaw's class, but you're working from home, please send the work to me, and I'll be the one checking it for the time being. Okay, right, thank you very much, Year 6. Thank you for listening, and I hope you've learned quite a bit today. Okay, see you soon.